Good morning, kids. My name is Miss Taylor, and I am here today to teach you guys about hearing and how we can protect our ears. Does anyone know what this is? It's the human ear. But this is just the outside portion that we can see when we look at someone. It has a fancy name too. We call it the pinna. Now the pinna is very important to hearing because it catches all of the sounds around us, and it can even tell us which direction the sound is coming from. Now, does anyone know what this part of the ear is called? This is the middle ear. And did you know that it is home to the three teeniest, tiniest bones in our whole body? They have fancy names too. The first one here is called the malleus. Then we have the incus. And finally, the stapes. This part right here is the tympanic membrane, but you guys might know it as the eardrum. When your outer ear catches a sound, it goes into the middle ear and it vibrates the eardrum, which moves those teeny tiny bones. The louder the sound, the more it moves. And it sends that signal to the inner ear. It is home to this snail-like structure here called the cochlea, and I promise it's not a real snail, but it does look like one. The cochlea's job is to tell us what kind of sounds we are listening to, more specifically the sound's frequencies. A frequency is the fancy way of saying how high or how low a sound is. Inside the cochlea is what's called the basilar membrane, and it is organized kind of like a piano. At this end, we have those high frequencies, and as we spiral further inside the coil, the frequencies get lower. When the basilar membrane reacts to a certain frequency, that information is sent to the brain to tell us exactly what we heard. Now, that is a lot of information, and who knew that hearing could be something so hard? So, let's review. First, we hear a sound. The outer ear catches the sound, and it travels to the middle ear. Then the tympanic membrane vibrates and moves those three bones, the malleus, incus, and stapes. They send the information to the cochlea, and inside the cochlea is the basilar membrane, and the frequencies of the sound we heard vibrate and send that signal to the brain. Then finally, the brain tells us what we heard. Now, let's think about that piano again. What happens if we bang on a piano really hard? It breaks. And the same thing can happen to our ears. When we listen to really loud sounds, our ear can break, and that basilar membrane we were talking about can lose frequencies. And the worst part about it is we can't fix it. Once it's broken, it is broken forever. So what can we do? We need to protect our ears by turning down the volume. Or if you're next to a really loud sound, you should move as far away from it as you can. And if you know you're going to be around loud sounds, wear ear protection. Now, let's talk about sounds that are too loud. First, I have to tell you how we measure sound. We use what's called a decibel. And you can see here we shorten that to a little d and a big B. Right now, I'm talking to you at about 60 dB, which is yellow on this chart. That means it's pretty loud, but it isn't loud enough to hurt your ears. Sounds louder than 85 dB can damage your ears if you listen to them over a long period of time. These sounds are particularly dangerous because we often can't tell that they are hurting our ears. We can see here that a hairdryer is 90 dBs, and that goes right next to our ears. But if you have ever used a hairdryer, you would know that it doesn't feel like it hurts our ears. And that's because it's not right now, but over time it will wear out. If we think back to the piano, what would happen if you hit the same note over and over and over? That note is going to work too hard, and eventually over time it will break. Sounds louder than 140 dB can damage your ears immediately. Sounds this loud would be something like fireworks, or if you ever go to a concert and you're standing too close to the speakers. If we damage our ears from sound exposure, there is nothing a doctor can do to fix it, but they can help. Audiologists can help if we lose some or even all of our hearing, but they cannot bring it back all the way. Hearing aids can be fitted to make sounds that we've lost loud enough for us to hear them again, and cochlear implants can be used if you lose all of your hearing, but neither option is going to sound the same as what you are hearing right now. Why is it important for us to learn about this? Because hearing is important. We use our ears every day. We listen in class, just like you're doing right now. We talk on the phone and have to listen to the other person. When we're watching TV, we're listening to what is happening. The world around us is noisy, and we need to hear to understand what is going on around us. And that is why it is so important for us to protect our ears. So now that you understand why hearing is so important, let's review what we can do to protect our hearing again. The first thing we can do is turn down the volume. If the TV is too loud, turn it down. If your music is loud, turn that down too. Second, we can move away from the sound. If you're ever at a concert and you're near a speaker, move further away from the speaker. And lastly, wear ear protection. You can have headphones or earplugs. If you know you're going to go to a concert, you can put earplugs in, and that will help save your hearing. Now that you know how to protect your ears, tell your friends and family so that they can protect their ears too. Noise-induced hearing loss is 100% avoidable. Thank you for listening to me today, and go out there and protect those ears.